Welcome developers, and today we are covering infinite loops in C. With that out of the way, let's jump right into it. So what's the use of infinite loops in C? How to use infinite loops in C? How to debug infinite loops in C? And what exactly are infinite loops in C? A program is an infinite loop, either produces continuous output or does nothing. So you can have a program that is producing continuous output or it's doing nothing. So nearly all applications in infinite loops that accept user input continuously process the input and generate some output until user manually exits from the application. So let's have some real world examples where we may use infinite loops. Number one, all operating systems are in an infinite loops. Why? It must not exist after doing some task. Therefore, it goes in an indefinite loop which terminates when user manually shut down the system. So this is example one. All servers are also in infinite loops. Server must actively listen to all clients' requests. Those that are full stack developers, they understand how the front end communicates with the back end. So if the server client are programming, so all game engines puts itself to an infinite loop. So with that out of the way, we want to understand how we write infinite loops in C. So let's jump right into code. So let's have so you can implement infinite loops using for loop. So let's just create this. Let's call it for.c. Out of that, we are going to is creating samples. It's running while it is loading. We can be explaining the best way to write infinite loops in C. Okay, it's done. So let's have our hash. Remember, we are including our preprocessor right now. Hash include. Then let's have standard input output .h. After that, we want to have our main function. Low, we just write int main. We are going to talk about functional programming very soon, so stay tuned in. Don't worry, when we talk about our main function, you are going to understand what exactly do we mean by a function. So in this tutorial, our main focus are on infinite loops. So how do you write an infinite loop using a for loop? So this is how you do it. I'm just going to show you the syntax, right? So you write for like this, and then you omit the initialization condition and also the incrementation or updating your loop. So if you do like this, then let's have the board of this for loop. Then if you say printf, let's say printf, let's just say run forever. Maybe make it on a new line. Okay, so if I run this program will not stop. It will run forever, like forever. It will not stop. Therefore, I wouldn't want to run it right now, but I was going to show you what's going to happen. So let me just show you. I'll terminate it very quickly after it started running, because it will end up making my computer crash. So let me just run it to show you. Look at this. It is right. It will run forever, like forever. So let me stop it by killing the terminal. Right. So that's how you write an infinite loop using a for loop. So now let's look at how you can write an infinite loop using the while loop. So this, let's just say while, create a file, C file, call it while, because we want to demonstrate how you can write infinite loops using the while. Okay, after that, let's include this by saying yes, we was trying to include our preprocessors, and then we're trying to include the header files, standard input output.h, and also we can have our main function like this, and have the board of that main function. So with while, So the best way to write infinite loops is to use the while loop. So if you say while one like this, then you have the body of your of your while loop like this. So I can say run forever. I can say run forever like this. Let me just return 0 from our main function so that you learn the proper way. Let me terminate here. So this is very important. Now if I run this program, it is going to run forever again, like what happened in the previous section. So but the best way to do an infinite loop is to use the while loop. So you have your condition right now, you have maybe your if statement. Let me cut this line so that you get what I'm trying to say, right? So if I cut this line, then I write my condition here. You can have your own condition. So I can have a condition here, I can have a condition here, I can have a condition like inside here. I can put any condition. So after that condition, I check the condition. So we want this loop to stop based on user interaction. So a user might decide to stop when it reaches 10. Maybe we are running a loop that will run from 1 to 10. So when it reaches 5, maybe the user wants to stop. So we're saying if this what reaches 5, then stop. Then we have remember we use the break keyword. So the best way to implement an infinite loop is to use your while loop in with a condition with an if statement inside. Then you use the break statement. If you haven't watched our video on the break statement, please do so and understand very well what we are trying to say. Okay, thank you. Now so if I run this, let me just so if condition, maybe you want to print something, then you break. So that's how you can write a infinite loop using the while loop. So I hope you are following. I hope you have been following. So let me just remove all these things. So if I run this one, it's going to run forever. Thank you so much for watching this. So let's move to another section where we are going to discuss how to write an infinite loop using the do while loop. So I'll write do. Let me just use this then conversion do while .c. So you can also write an infinite loop using the do while loop. So we can have let's include our this is our preprocessor. By saying yes, we are trying to get our preprocessors. Then standard input output, this is our header file. These are actually predefined. So from this header file standard input output, we get two very important functions: the scanf and also the printf, which are very important. You know, we use printf to print something on the screen, and then scanf to get something from the user. So let's save our main function. So if we say int main, we can use void. Int main can take some arguments. Can you check void there? After that, let's save the body of our main function. So in this, we remember how we write the do while loop. So you do something. Remember, it's like this. Here is the syntax of the do while loop. So you do something. This same colon must not be there, right? Oh, I don't know which one, but let's and then we write our code here. Then inside here I want to say while one like this. So while one, then do this. But remember, with the do while loop, it first does something. So maybe I want to print f again, run forever. So before it even enters our loop, it does something first. That's the syntax of the do while loop. So check out our video on the do while loop. So if I run this program, it is not going to terminate since it has no condition. So if you omit your condition, it means that your loop is going to run forever. So remember, infinite loops are so important, especially if you are trying to design your own operating system, or you know that you have a task that needs to be repeated. You have a task that need to, or you have a code, you have a project where in that project there is a moment where you need to repeat some tasks continuously without stopping, especially if you are interested into embedded systems, into robotics. there's maybe you want your robot to continuously maybe it's a farming robot, you want it to continuously digging the farm, so you have to use an infinite loop, a loop which will not stop. So this is the advantage of using robots, because the robots were saying they can work 24/7. So how is that possible? You have your code that runs 24/7 without stopping. So I hope you are getting it, you are getting the use of infinite loops. So you need to know when to use them, how to debug them. In our next section we need to look at you can also use infinite loops with nested loops, so you can research that on the internet. For now we need to discuss how to debug infinite loops. Let's look at this article by Code for Win. I really like his articles on C programming. How to debug unintentional infinite loops. Almost all of the programmers once in their lives faces an infinite loop unknowingly. Unintentional infinite loops are a general purpose loop that goes indefinite due to some logical bug. So there will be some logical bug, and we are going to look at all that. Below are some debugging measures that must be taken by new programmers in the process of tracing unintentional infinite loops. Number one, you should watch out for semicolons properly. You've seen many situations when a single semicolon is entire loop board, resulting in an indefinite loop. So, for example, let's look at this code snippet. We have int number1 equals to 1. So we've created a variable num and of data type int and initialized it with 1. So I hope you're following. If you don't know what I'm trying to say, check out our other videos out. So while num is less than or equals to 10, remember when using the while loop, you should not include this semicolon. So if you put that semicolon, this is going to be an infinite loop. I hope you are getting it. So be careful with your semicolons. Number two, check logical conditions properly. Either intentional or typing mistake, programmers generally misinterpreted the use of assignment operator, which is an equal sign, and then the relational operator, which is a double equal sign. So this one, it is going to end up being an infinite loop if you don't play well with your equal sign and your equal sign. So please play around with that and try to debug the code. Use of wrong update statement or loop conditions can ruin your entire loop. This is common to new developers. Int I for I equals to 100, I is less than or equals to 1. This loop I plus plus must be placed by I minus minus, because if you say I plus plus, this is going to be an infinite loop. It will not stop, it will run forever, and that won't be good. If you don't, never underestimate floating point errors. So this is very important. Again, this code snippet, float num equals 0.1 f while num is not equals to 10.0 f runs indefinitely due to floating point errors. So how do you do with the floating point errors when writing infinite loops? If you don't believe, let me jump that line. To debug above code, always use rounding functions. Either make use of the round function, the floor function. These are main functions. We are going to talk about functional programming very soon, and functional programming is one of my favorite in the world of programming. I love functional programming, so stay tuned in where we'll explain what is a function, how to write functions, how to understand functional programming. So these are like predefined functions that you find in the header file maths.h. So I need you to stay tuned in, because we're about to cover some amazing stuff. So round, floor, so I need to know these are predefined functions. I need to know what they do. This one, they round your figures on. They round your floating point number. So float num equals 0.1 f while float this is a function. It takes in some this we call it parameter. It's a num is not equals to 10.0 f. Floating point error is rounded. So if you use these built-in functions, there is predefined functions, it will help you a lot, and it will help you get rid of those rounding of errors. Be careful while breaking from nested loop. Be careful while breaking from nested loop. This is very important. Break statement terminate nearest loop. Breaking from a nested inner loop will not terminate the entire loop. Let's look at this snippet. Int I j while one infinite loop. So this is an infinite loop. Remember how to define an infinite loop, we have covered that already. So we inside that while loop, inside that infinite loop, we have another loop, which is a for loop, and that for loop we are breaking it using the break statement. And remember how to use a break statement, we always use it with the if statement. Then we break will only terminate the inner loop. So this loop is going to run forever since the break statement is only breaking the inner loop. With that out of the way, thank you for watching. Peace until next time.